Hi there, if you're watching this video, then you chose to do a dog or a cat artwork inspired by George Rodrigues' Blue Dog. We're going to focus on using color, pattern, and shape while we work on this project. So I have a 12 by 18 piece of paper. If you are a face-to-face learner, that's what you're going to need. If you are an at-home learner, any size paper you have will do. You're going to need a pencil. You are going to need an eraser, and if you don't have those in your basic kit, you can get your drawing box off of the table. And if you're at home, find those items at home. So we're going to start with that. When we're done drawing and we move on, you will need to get something to add color. It may be crayon, it may be oil crayon, it may be markers, but something to add color. So we're going to start with just some basic shapes. Inspired by Blue Dog's stance, how he kind of sits on his haunches. Dogs and cats do that a lot, so whether you're drawing a dog or a cat, you're going to want to kind of start out with these basic shapes. So up at the top half of my paper, I'm going to really lightly sketch a circle or an oval kind of a shape. Okay? You might want to do it even lighter than me. I'm doing it dark enough so you can see on the camera. And then below that, I'm going to do more of an oval shape for the body. Almost looks like, I don't know, a bowling pin. Like this, it gets a little bigger down at the bottom than it does at the top. So there's like my basic shape. Now, a dog or a cat, both when they sit like this, they sit on what I call haunches. So those are just some curvy lines or almost half circles on either end, either side, down near the bottom, and then they're going to have a foot or a paw that comes out like this, almost like a U shape. And again, yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine. You don't have to copy me exactly. This is just me showing you kind of how to get this mapped out. And then they have their two front paws, which they sit and hold in front of them. And the easiest way, I think, to do that is to just do 3 lines coming from about the middle of the body down. And then however you want the paws to be, if you want them to just be half circles like that, if you want them to actually show paws and toes like that, that's fine. Let me move this out of the way here. I'm going to just do this. But if you want to do it more like actual paws and toes, you can do that too. And then all these other lines, I'm going to ignore right now, but I'm going to erase those and get rid of those later. Now I can decide whether or not I want this to be a dog or a cat. If you would like it to be a dog, one thing that you can do is add a snout. And this is almost like a vase shape that comes down like this. And then you can decide if you want your dog to have a big circle nose or if you want it to have more of an upside down, kind of curved upside down triangle nose. You get to decide that based on the kind of dog that you're choosing to do. You also need to choose what kind of ears your dog is going to have. You might have a dog with really long floppy ears, like this. You might have a dog that has pointy ears like a Blue Dog and looks more like a wolf. You might have a dog that has more kind of half ears. I'm going to do that because my dog at home has those kind of ears. I want to fashion this after my dog. And then you can decide some other things like where are the eyes going to go. Now, Blue Dog by George Rodrigues has perfect circle eyes with that dot in the middle because, as you saw in the videos, that dog is looking right at you. And then he has kind of a shape like this around it. You don't have to do your eyes exactly like a Blue Dog. And then Blue Dog has kind of a white snout that goes all the way up to kind of show his snout different from his face. Again, that's up to you. My dog at home kind of has that. And so I'm going to do this here. I'm going to use my dog at home as inspiration. Then the other thing that you'll want to do is you don't have to keep this a perfect circle. As you go in and erase lines that you don't need anymore, like I don't need this line anymore, I can change the shape. I can make this look a little more furry for my dog. I can bring this down here. I don't need this line anymore. I don't need this line anymore. And I'm starting to really connect this and make this look like a dog and get rid of some of the lines that I don't need. And again, if you want to make your dog a little more furry, you can do that. You can change the shape so it looks a little more, I'm going to add that line back in there a little bit. A little more like a dog. I also am going to add a tail. My dog has a short stubby tail. You can add a tail on either side. If you are choosing to do a cat, you can even add a collar if you want to add a collar. If you are choosing to do a cat, you're going to start out with the same basic concept of circle, kind of oval that gets bigger at the bottom, haunches and feet. And then I'm going to go in and do my snout on my cat's going to be a little shorter, a little more round. Might even come up a little bit like that. Cats have kind of smaller noses, like that. Your cat's eyes can be however you need your cat's eyes to be. And then I'm going to do the ears on my cat. And then again, I can come in here and kind of connect. I have a cat at home too, so I can kind of fashion this over. My cat at home also has kind of a little mask like that, so I could do that and then get rid of this. Make this, just put a line there, kind of show that it's going forward. My cat at home is a very fat cat. Get rid of some of these lines that I don't need. That's why we draw lightly in art, so you can just get rid of lines you don't need. Cats usually have this little chin down here. And I'm just going to continue to do that, and then my cat has a big tail that I'm going to add on this side. So once you get either your cat or your dog done, I'm going to continue working on the dog. Then you can start adding some detail in the way of shape and pattern in your background. George Rodrigues Blue Dog, he did a lot of things with background. Blue Dog was always blue and always kind of the same. Well, not always blue, he was different colors. But he was always kind of the same as far as his look. And then his backgrounds and his details are what changed about him. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples of some blue dogs that are done or nearly done. And these are blue dogs that I have done in the past. And I kind of fashioned them a little more after George Rodrigues dog. So this is a blue dog that I did. And I did do Blue Dog Blue. And then in the background I used really bright colored flowers for my patterns. This is another one that I did that is a purple blue dog. And I did just stripes in the background. So I want you to think about what you can do in the background of your blue dog to make him a little more abstract. And it might just be some straight lines, a little more cubist. It might be just some lines and shapes like this and polka dots. You get to decide what you want to do with the background of your dog. I'm going to do just some shapes. I mean, George Rodrigues, in some cases, he did actual landscapes that were a little more abstract too. So I'm doing just these kind of organic shapes. And polka dots behind my dog. So that's part one of this lesson, is getting this drawn out. And then part two, we're going to talk about what you need to add color and what you can do to add color.